I was just talking to Mr. Subramaniam before I walked into this hall, and he had only one thing to say. Most of us who've been, Mr. Subramaniam is Mr. P.V. Subramaniam. If you don't know him, is Mr. P.V. Subramaniam of subramani.com, and I'm sure not many of us would not know him. So he was saying, I've been doing this in this business training for the last 15, 20 years, and the only thing which has been changing is the timelines of the slides, right? And I'm also going to do the same thing. This is not something which we don't know. It's just a question of reaffirmation. Tamil solva, adi mel adi adicha ammiyu naguru obdenu. In case for those people who do not understand Tamil, it's just a question of keep at it and you will succeed, right? But I'll try and bring a couple of different perspectives in this whole presentation of mine. Starting off with the big picture, right? This is not something which none of us know. We all know the kind of penetration of mutual funds in India. Karnataka is at a high 17%. I'm saying high in relative comparison to the states which are mentioned elsewhere. There's only one disclaimer and caveat. I'm just talking quite a lot about the southern states because one, I think this hall is full of people from South India. And it also makes logical sense to talk about the potential of this 5 states. I think the 5th state was formed 2 years back. And there we are still, and rightfully so, the penetration is at 5%. Whereas the national average is at 15%, but even here I need to make a mention that it could be skewed because of 2 large cities in the country. And I'm sure I don't have to name those 2 large cities. Can somebody help me out with those 2 large cities in the country? Absolutely. Unfortunately, Chennai is one territory which has been losing out in terms of its pride of place as far as the AUMs in mutual funds are concerned. I remember when I started in 1998, Chennai was at a high 3rd position, and today we are probably at about 8th or 9th rank as far as Tamil Nadu as a state is concerned. So this is not to just show you the data. I'm saying this is the kind of potential which we have. You look at Tamil Nadu, you're still in a high single digit. You have 91% which is still untapped. You can look at the glass and say it is half full or half empty. The moment you say it is half full, I think you start getting a feeling that, it is just another half is the one which has got to be filled. This also takes me back to a footwear salesman story, which I'm sure a lot of us would have heard about, right? For those who have not heard, there was one footwear company which sent one of its salesmen to a virgin territory, and that man immediately calls up his boss and says, "Sir, there is no option, boss. Let's come back. I don't want to be here because nobody seems to be wearing a pair of shoes." Right? So the boss said, "Okay, TK, don't waste your time. Take the next bus back, flight back, sea back, whatever, whichever way you want to come back." And the 3rd day, there's another gentleman who goes there from the same organization, and he excitedly calls up his boss. And you know what he says? "Sir, or 3 vandi anupunga sir." This is basically the way we look at it. Whether we look at penetration of mutual funds in Tamil Nadu is at 9%, South is probably at an average of about 12-13% because of the skew which Karnataka has. But look at the option, look at the potential. The next data point is something which I wanted to show. I don't know, I'm sure all of us look at it with this perspective, or if you're not, I would like to bring in an element of perspective in terms of what is the kind of potential which is there as far as mutual funds are concerned. I've given the source of the data. AUM of mutual funds is obviously AMFI. The source of term deposits in banks is RBI. What are we talking about? We are talking about 175 lakh crores of money lying in term deposits in banks across the country. And what is our mutual fund AUM? 40 lakh crores. Right? And this again, 40 lakh crores and 175 lakh crores is obviously a combination of all your current, savings and your term deposits, corporate investments. But if you start looking at retail per se, I'm sure your average will not be 25% of term deposits. It will be, if you just look at the retail deposits of mutual fund AUMs, it will probably be hovering at about 8, 9, 10%. That is another opportunity which you're talking about is 90% of the money which is lying in fixed deposits, which is lying in term deposits in banks, can be your target segment. Okay, I'm coming to your domain right now. If you look at the contribution of MFD AUM to the overall percentage, overall industry AUM, Karnataka is at 28%, Tamil Nadu is at 27%. This is only the MFD AUMs to the industry's AUM in those territories. AP is at 17%, India is at 25%. Probably this is one place where Tamil Nadu is better than the national average. Right? And that is probably because of all you people in the room, but there's still the window, the scope, right, which is something which you need to look at is the scope of 72% of the industry is going through somebody else. Why is it that, we are not focusing on this? And the last of the data points which I want to show to you is this. And I want some inputs on this. What is the outcome of this data point which I've shown you? What is your thought process? Can I have some reference? Can I have some feedbacks? Mr. Suresh says debt is not there. So why is it that we are looking only at equity as an asset class, right? I heard Bala sir say that, AMC is also working to bring about a concept of fixed income sahi hai, from like what mutual fund sahi hai is. Why are we averse to looking at fixed income as a category? There must be reasons, right? Why are we averse to looking at fixed income as a category? Look at the scope. All of us have 70%. The bare minimum which is there in terms of equity assets is in Karnataka, which is 71%. And Tamil Nadu is also about 75%. But look at the other parts of South India. And look at India as a whole. What could be the reasons? Is it because of the fact that, this is your most lucrative revenue earner? Is this the asset class which is your most lucrative revenue earner? How many of us have looked at our assets this way? How many of us have looked at our asset composition this way? Is this making sense? Is it making some sort of, are you trying to resonate with this data point and say there is so much scope? I was talking about 175 lakh crores of money lying in fixed deposits. And what is that? That's a fixed income asset, right? And we are talking about 7.65 crores out of a total AUM of 9.69 lakh crores lying in equities. Fantastic. You've been able to make your investor believe in equity as an asset class. And I believe that equity as an asset class is a little more difficult to explain because of its volatile, uncertain category or uncertain nature. And you've been able to make that happen with your investors. Why can't you make fixed income happen with your investors? This is some thought which I would want to leave you with, right? So the first part of this whole thing is we are trying to say how much of potential is there as far as this market is concerned. This is nothing new. I'm sure there's so many symposiums, there's so many seminars, there's so many meetings which you attend across the country, be it a FIFA meet, be it a network FP meet, be it a Cafe Mutual meet. I'm sure all these data points are being shared out there. But I think somewhere, sometime, we will have to start working on it. And the most senior of all those people out here have definitely taken a step towards that. These could probably be the challenges which the MFDs face. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do all of us feel that I do not have the bandwidth for me to reach out to as many people as I want to? Is that feeling? என்னால் எவ்வளோ பேரை ரீச் அவுட் பண்ண எனக்கு ஆசை இருக்குது. I want to reach out to a lakh of people, but I'm not able to do it. Is that there with you, or you're saying I'm happy with the kind of investors which I have, I'm happy with my 20 investors? Is 100 into 1 better than 1 into 100? Can you get what I'm saying? Is 100 into 1 better than 1 into 100? 1 into 100 is one gentleman giving you 100 rupees, right? Whereas 100 into 1 is what? 100 people giving you 1 rupee. What is the probability of all those 100 people withdrawing their money at the same time? What is the probability? Very little. If that was the case, that if the probability was very high that all of those people who invest in fixed deposits want to take out their money at the same time, even a bank which has got the credentials of State Bank of India cannot survive that run on their deposits. So is it not better to diversify our customer base? The second point is, revenue not enough. I'm sure all of you will agree with this, right? And coming from a manufacturer, all the more reasons for you to agree with me, right? The next question, I can see Mr. Saravanan of Purple Pond staring at me and saying, what are you guys doing about it? Yes. See, the issue is this. Now, I'm sure we have a lot more, good set of auto drivers of Tamil Nadu. But why I'm bringing that category is for people to, easily relate with. If you look at an auto driver, go to an auto stand, what does he normally do? Right? He will want to do 5 sawaris in a day, finish off his day's work, go back home, or go hit the Tasmac shop. I'm not saying all the auto drivers are like that. We've had very inspiring auto drivers like Annadurai, who's brought about a lot of innovativeness in terms of the way he works. And he's now, I think, he's an incidental auto driver at this point in time. He's more of a motivational speaker. So we have to reach out to as many people as possible. And Miss Larissa, who said that, she was surprised that a sex worker could take her fees through a Google Pay, is one way to look at it. Is there digital equipments, digital tools which enable us to reach out to as many people as possible? And I think COVID taught us that. Did COVID teach us that or not? How many of you still use physical application forms in this room? Hardly any, right? Hardly any. 5 years back, if probably the same question was put across, I would have seen most of the hands going up, right? So that is one way of reaching out to as many people as concerned. The third challenge is volatile markets. Markets are so uncertain. I don't know. I'm not able to plan my cash flows. I don't know what my brokerage will be next month. So I need to ensure that I'm in the highest brokerage earning category. Could be. I'm not making a statement here. I'm saying, if I have to look at it, if tomorrow, subsequent to my, hanging up my boots as far as being on the other side is concerned, and I decide to take the plunge, are these the challenges which I will be facing? I've thought from your side, you'll have to correct me that these are not challenges, these are all opportunities, if that is the way you feel. And awareness. One of the most important reasons we don't want to learn new technology, we don't want to learn new asset categories, we don't want to learn anything new is because of lack of awareness, right? And how do you overcome that? Are these not in your control? I believe all of these activities, all of these challenges, the answer lies within us. And that is exactly the reason why I'm saying the key is me. I'm saying the master key is with me. What is the difference between a master key and a key? So the master key is one. If you look at this hotel, and if you look at the housekeeping staff, they don't carry the room keys of all your 200, 300, 400 rooms, right? What do? They have one key. But there was a point in time, even in the same hotel, the housekeeping staff would have had a bunch of keys because the kind of lock which they used at that point in time would have been something else. And they will hang their keys. So look, no offense meant to any of the women folk or any of a particular community. It has been depicted in a manner that they hold all the keys close to the saris. I'm sure, all of us understand which community it is, but I'm saying that is all gone. Everybody has one single key. So I'm saying the master key is within me. I have the answers to all these challenges. All I need to put to actual action is that thought process. I decide that I need to do this, I will do this. We've had a lot of inspiring stories. I know a major called Devinder Pal Singh who runs a marathon with a artificial limb. Okay, we have so many people. I'm talking about all those people who've been inspirational to us. And in Chennai, I shouldn't be invoking his name. We have a gentleman who's a big motivational speaker, but as far as his career was concerned, he was not a big success. I would leave the guessing to you guys, right? To you people. I don't want you to guess. I don't want to name who that is, but he's one of those most successful motivational speakers based out of Chennai currently. Right? So there are so many questions, so many stories ahead of us. And the probable solution for all this is knowledge, is upskilling. One of the most important things which is absolutely necessary as far as our business is concerned is skilling ourselves up day in, day out. We are in a business where we can't go and say, if you're in a paint business or if you're selling refills for ball pens, you can just go and tell them, see, this pen will write for 1 mile long, 2 mile long, 3 mile long. If you're selling paints, you can say 1 liter of paint will cover 120 square feet, 150 square feet. But if you're selling an equity fund, does the nature of the fund remain the same every day? It doesn't. Does it move the same way every day? It doesn't. So what is very important is what you know about whatever you are suggesting to the customer. The second point is customer first, not what we want, but what the customer wants. I think this is not something which you have to keep reiterating. I'm sure all of us in this room know about it. The third very most important thing which in my category of things is look at relationship for a lifetime value of the customer. Can you understand what the lifetime value of a customer is? I'll give you a classic example. 20 years back, 25 years back, there was a life insurance provider who came to me. And he took a policy from me and he ran away. He said, ran away in the sense, he said, okay, this man is worth only this much. I will not have any relationship. My job is one transaction. I've got one policy from Venkatesh and that is it. But if he had stuck on to me, 20 years back what my earnings were and right now what my earning is completely different, right? What you got from me on 20 years back would have been 1,000. What you can get from me today is probably 1,00,000 rupees. So why are we looking at a customer as a transactional point? Don't look at it from the transaction perspective. Look at it from a relationship perspective, lifetime value. I'm sure all of you are serving generations of your customers, and that should be the way it should be. The fourth important point is, just by a show of hands, how many of you feel you're doing work, or how many of you feel here that you're doing a noble profession? The answer is there, gentlemen. How many of us believe you're doing something very, very noble? We believe the doctor does a noble profession. We believe so many else does, so many other skilled professionals do that. But why are we not looking at it that way? If you feel that you're doing a noble profession, what should be the logical step? Your conviction levels are so high, your logical step should be that your entire family, your next generations should be in this business. How many of you are planning to do this? Brilliant. But even this, I saw all the hands go up when it came to be a noble profession, but when I'm talking about bringing their family people into this, I think only half the hands went up. But that conviction is good enough. And ultimately, whatever challenge you have, you face, it can be driven by one word. All of these challenges which you face can be handled by one word called, if you're very, very, very passionate in what you're doing, all your obstacles are just like what the Bible says, this too shall pass. I would just end. This is in response to a school teacher who asked J.R.D. Tata, what are the guiding principles of the Tata Group? He says, nothing worthwhile is ever achieved without deep thought and hard work. One must think for oneself and never accept at their face value slogans and catchphrases. One must forever strive for excellence. No success achievement in material terms is worthwhile unless it serves the needs or interests of the country and its people and achieved by a fair and honest means. Believe me, ladies and gentlemen, this was written by J.R.D. Tata way back in 1965, 60 years back. Good human relations not only bring great personal rewards, but are essential to the success of any enterprise. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for this opportunity. I am sure the key is within you, and that will be the master key. Thank you so much.